Chapter 6 Life Processes presented by E-Biology class Fatima Convent High School, myself Dipali. Today we are going to do the next topic of this chapter, that is transportation of materials or nutrients in the plant body. Previously we studied transportation in animals. Now transportation in plants is as important as transportation in animals, as plants have huge bodies and they have their basic requirements of energy to maintain that body. They too need to transport substances from one place of the plant body to the other place of plant body. Now in the lower classes we have already studied that the plant has two main parts, the root system and the shoot system. The roots function for absorbing the water and minerals from the soil, and the shoot system, they have stem, leaves, flowers and fruits which prepare the food and they transfer it to the rest of the body part. Now let us see what and how the plants transfer their requirement material into the whole body. Transport in plants. We have discussed earlier how plants take in simple compounds such as CO2 and photosynthesizes energy stored in their chlorophyll containing organs, namely leaves. That other kind of raw material needed for building plant body will also have to be taken up separately. For plant, the soil is the nearest and the richest source of raw materials like nitrogen, phosphorus and other minerals. The absorption of these substances therefore occurs through the parts in contact with the soil, namely roots. If the distance between soil connecting organs and the chlorophyll containing organs are small, energy and raw material can easily be diffused to all parts of the plant. But if this distance becomes large because of change in plant body design, diffusion process will not be sufficient to provide raw material in leaves and energy in roots. A proper system of transportation is therefore essential in such situation. So same like animals, plant also needs a complex coordinated system for transportation of carbon dioxide and food, that is glucose produced in the leaves, and water, which is a requirement for the process of photosynthesis from the roots to the leaves. Energy needed differs between the body designs. Plants do not move and plant body have a large portion of dead cells in many tissues. As a result, plants have low energy need and can use relatively low transport system. This distance covers over which plant's transport system has to operate is, however, can be very large in plants such as very tall trees. But because they need a slow transport system, they do not need any organ like a heart as the organisms need. So, the plant transport system will move energy stored from leaves and raw material from the roots. These two pathways are constructed as independently organized conducting tubes. One, the xylem moves water and minerals obtained from the soil, and the other, phloem transports products of photosynthesis from the leaves where they are synthesized to other parts of the plant. So, the two systems which are responsible for the transport of materials in the plant body are the xylem and the phloem system, or the xylem conducting tissue and the phloem conducting tissue. The xylem is responsible for transport of water and minerals, and phloem is responsible for transporting the material synthesized during photosynthesis in the leaves. Transport of water. In xylem tissue, vessels and tracheids of the roots, stems and leaves are interconnected to form a continuous system of water conducting channel reaching all the parts of the plant. At the root, cell is connected with the soil actively takes up ions. This creates a difference in concentration of these ions between roots and soil, and water therefore moves into the roots from the soil to eliminate this difference. So it works on the principle of concentration gradient. This means that there is a steady movement of water into the root xylem, creating a column of water that is steadily pushed upwards. However, this pressure by itself is unlikely to be enough to move water over the height that we commonly see in the plants. Plants use another strategies to move water in xylem upwards to the highest point of the plant body. Take two small pots of approximately same size and having the same amount of soil. One should have a plant in it. Place a stick of the same height as the plant in the other pot. Cover the soil with both the pots with a plastic sheet so that moisture cannot escape by evaporation. Cover both sets, one with the plant and the other with the stick, with plastic sheet and place it in bright sunlight for half an hour. Do you observe the difference in this case? Yes, you will see droplets of water in the plastic bag where the plant is there. This shows that plant has transpired water in form of water droplets. This is one more process which helps the plant to transport water as the diffusion and concentration gradient are not enough for transferring the water from the roots to the upper parts of the body plant and against the gravity. Provided that the plant has an adequate supply of water, the water which is lost through the stomata is replaced by the water from the xylem vessels in the leaves. In fact, evaporation of water molecules from the cell of the leaves creates a suction which pulls water from xylem cell of roots. The loss of water in the form of vapor from the aerial parts of the plant is known as transpiration. So do you understand what is transpiration now? When plant or the leaves gives out water vapor to create a suction pressure that is called as transpiration. This transpiration helps in the absorption and upward movement of water and mineral dissolved in it from roots to the leaves. The two important functions of transpiration are to help in transport of water and second, it also helps in temperature regulation. The effect of root pressure in the transport of water is more important at night. During the day when the stomata are open, the transpiration pull becomes the major driving force in the movement of water in xylem. So, this is the function of transpiration. Along with suction and concentration gradient, transpiration helps the water and minerals to transfer from the roots to the upper body parts of the plant. Now, transport of food and other substances. So far, we have discussed the transport of water and minerals in the plants. Now, let us consider how the product of metabolic processes, particularly photosynthesis, are moved from leaves where they are found to the other parts of the body. This transport of soluble products of photosynthesis is called translocation and it occurs in the vascular tissue known as phloem. Besides the product of photosynthesis, phloem transfers amino acids and other substances as well. These substances are especially delivered to the stored organs of the plants like roots, fruits, seeds, and growing organs. The translocation of food and other substances takes place in the sieve tubes with the help of adjacent companion cells, both in upwards and downwards direction. So, that is how the transport of food occurs by the process of translocation. Unlike transport in xylem, which can be largely explained by simple physical processes, translocation in phloem is achieved by utilizing energy. So, in xylem, the process is physical process just by simple difference in concentration, whereas the phloem transfers food with the help of energy. Materials like sucrose is transferred into phloem tissue using energy from ATP. This increases the osmotic pressure of the tissues, causing water to move into it. This pressure moves the material in the phloem to the tissue which has less pressure. This allows the phloem to move material according to its plant's needs. For example, in spring, sugar stored in roots or stem tissue will be transported to the buds, which needs energy to grow. So, according to the requirement and from the energy of the ATP, it works like an active transport. So, we can conclude here saying that the two processes, important processes for transport of material in plant body are transpiration, which is performed by stomata, and xylem is the tissue which is responsible for various transport of water and mineral. Same way, phloem tissue, it transports food material and by the process of translocation, that is done by sieve tubes. Is this very much clear? That is it for this topic. Thank you.